Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to the Lone Star stage for the CIL GT3 challenge from the Circuit of the Americas. I'm Matthew Nordberg. Joining me in the booth tonight is Joshua Crane. We're looking forward to a fantastic race here tonight from COTA. Current track temp looking to be about 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 68 degrees Fahrenheit ambient for this pretty cool and dreary evening here in Austin, Texas. Josh, it's going to be a pretty great race. What are you looking forward to tonight?
I'm looking forward to a couple things. Circuit of the Americas in the news most recently, I think, for Formula One's adventure to the venue and well-earned publicity. It's kind of a unique track. The first sector being full of some really nice flowing S's, nice depending on how your car is set up. And then you kind of get spit out onto a long straightaway and gives you time to collect your thoughts and think about how you want to attack the rest of the track and any adjustments you want to make in the car as these drivers can, whether it be settings for traction control and ABS and brake bias that they might be changing a couple times every lap on this circuit, depending on the model of their car. And then as you get to the end of that long straightaway, that's where we see so many overtakes going deep into the corner and being able to compete and who's the latest to decelerate there. And then back through the final sector is really a neat portion of track where it's back and forth, going back to the Formula One race. It is very unique that it doesn't really lend an advantage to the end. There's so many left rights, and there's the pace is such of the track and the cars that there is a lot of side by side action, and it really is a 50-50 ball as these drivers try and negotiate each other through that final sector, and that's why it's so fun to see these guys and girls compete to the end of the lap. And so, speaking of the lap, everybody's trying to put in their own. We're in qualifying currently, and going to be a couple GT3 cars out, just trying to get the job done to start. As you can see on your screen, Nick Patinella from Robert Morris University. He's going to start on his lap here. A little bit of a tight corner, a little bit off camber, but it looks like he's got that McLaren full of traction and heading down into turn one. This is the fun part of the lap. You go uphill and you really pick your braking point up on the right. Doesn't drift over onto the rumble strip so much, but you can. And then he will late apex, late as you can, back into the corner and back on the downhill run. Traction control might hop in a little bit there, depending on whether you have a mid or rear engine car, but it really is fun. Down into the S's, trying to be smart with the inputs. Make sure you're on throttle as you cross each of those apexes. Not quite marked by those yellow turtles you see on the inside, but gotta be mindful of those. It looks like Nick Patinella gonna abort that one. Didn't like what he saw, but these drivers now heading out on track and qualifying big time underway as the students get out. You can see right there, position 2 in your championship. So this is the third race to go. There's 3 races, including this event, left in the GT3 Challenge here in CIL, and you can see that Pure Sims Porsche of Jordan Johnson. He's trying to put Kent State University on top of the points, but Muhammad Ali is going to make that very hard from Ball State University. Always a fierce competitor. We've seen a little bit of contact between the two in GT3 and also in the, as you see right there, trying to get the position for the qualifying lap. This will be an out lap, but still looks like Jordan Johnson gonna want that good position there. Really wants that position, in fact, and now a bit in the grass. Don't know if the Ferrari on the inside was on the same page there. That 95 machine going to be Jacob Cummings from Wingate University there. We've seen him in that Ferrari, generally quick, but yeah, alongside that Porsche. And just an outlap now, but this is where we see so many late braking moves. These drivers down into the corner, and yeah, Johnson there conceding. But nonetheless, that is the point standings. Ball State University, a bit of an advantage over that Porsche right there. And Kent State University's team, and they are going to seek to close the gap tonight. That's what to watch. And Jacob Cummings actually also in a little battle of his own with IUPUI. Driven by Cohen Evans tonight, and we see that that Porsche out there, that Ferrari right there, and then the Porsche with the big Jaguar on the side. We will also see tonight, so that'll be pretty fun as well for the viewers at home to be able to see and take that in. Any other notables would be Clemson and St. Clair are going to try and battle their way out, and it really is some storylines shaping up and down the points championship pylon. Everybody trying to get inside about the top 5 positions in points as you ride on board here with the Ferrari of Jake Cummings. Back down into turn 1. Yeah, not as late of an apex there, and looks like no traction control, so comes off. Excuse me, Jonathan Webb, I think we're on board with. Here with Jake Cummings, Wingate University now, going through the S's, just getting as close as he can. Actually, contact there, and you can see how it disrupts the car and perhaps the front splitter on that Ferrari, but it looks like Cummings going to stick with it. Now you have to avoid for all 25 minutes those yellow turtles. They will jump up at you. Snapping turtles, if you like. Pretty aggressive there. This track, known in F1 for its really tough track limits, speed is carried all the way around, and it really makes it tricky to put your car where you want. It takes a lot of focus, maximum focus. So you see back on the way here. So this is where drivers can, right now, get their car situated for the back part of the lap. This is where you might change the brake bias. You might change the balance of the car because the remaining part of the track is pretty different than the part of the sweeping S's that you came through, but nonetheless heavy on the brakes, about the 150, 100 board if you dare. A little bit late for Jake Cummings. Looks like he would have liked to be on the brakes maybe a little bit earlier right there, but back down into this right-hander. And Matt, a good thing to note for these drivers, triple screens, VR, single screens is right here on the left-hand turn, and some of these other tight turns at the Circuit of the Americas, it is pretty hard to see that apex and see where you're going to point your car.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is one of those tracks where putting your car in the right spot is going to be so crucial for the next 2, 3, maybe even 4 corners, depending on the part of the track you're at. And especially here through turns 19, if you're not careful, you're not going to be able to see that exit curb, and you might lose your lap time as Jacob Cummings comes around the final corner to finish his first flying lap of the evening. But like you said, triple monitors VR, a big help around this track just because of, like we both mentioned, just having to place your car in the right spot is oh so important here because the corners do flow together. That entire first sector almost you can treat as one single complex where the first corner leads into the second, and if you have a bad first couple corners, it's going to just continue to snowball until the end of the sector.
It is, and I'll tell you what I see right now is Jacob Cummings is going to make his way through the S's, and right behind him, Kent State University. If they can stay in about that position, they're going to have a really nice toe down the straightaway. They may even attempt a pass if they can, though you certainly don't want to sacrifice anything into that deep turn, a heavy braking turn on the end. Actually, no, it looks like Jordan Johnson there gonna spend a little bit too much and off in the grass. You can see IUPUI's Cohen Evans right there, a long-standing veteran in CIL, no stranger to the roadside. Actually, a little bit of a masterclass in the roadside, always looking good in that Jaguar machine, and back on the straight he goes. But yeah, that's where it's a bit of an opportunity if you can find yourself going down the straight, and it is a possibility also to prevent battling for a little bit if you and your opponents need to get down the road, put some space between you and the competitors behind. That would not be uncommon to try and push a little bit down that back straightaway. Don't try it in an open wheel car, but with these fenders on these cars, it's a little bit more possible. So coming down in about midway through qualifying, you can see that Alif is taking the pole position right now on provisional pole. I'll tell you who's in second place is the University of North Texas, Edwin Onofre, with that 204.4. That are 0.475 that Wingate machine. Jacob not separated at all in these times. Actually, the top 4 making the 204s, and then Hunter Haddisty for Clemson University. You see him there on your screen with a 205 and 6 thousandths of a second, so just missing on the 204 club. In fact, I say again, Zachary DeWall from St. Clair College has just put his name 4th on the charts with a 204.530. So again, exactly a 10th off of Edwin Onofre from the University of North Texas. You see right there, Edwin, that good-looking Mercedes-Benz. And that is going to be a car that I want to have on the backstretch. Big V8 power, and it's going to be all set to go on that back stretch where these cars race, especially with a tow. The BMW is going to be in that same boat as well. As you can see, North Texas, their job done. Going to take that machine back and maybe get a fresh set of tires. Probably time for 1 or 2 more laps as these drivers will put in qualifying fuel. On your screen there, Ian Brown from Mesa Community College. Making a really good showing here this season and putting that Ferrari in a good position, trying to get a little bit closer, maybe to that top 5 there. But he will start in a good position nonetheless when we go green here. Matt, as we get into this race, and it's 2 segments with an invert in between, and a little bit of contact between the 2 St. Clair cars, both on their outlap. Zachary DeWall actually trying to do a flying lap, but a little bit of avoidance there in the S's, and tough for him right there. So back underway, Zachary DeWall, but this will not be a lap, not be a fast lap for that machine. So, sorry, Matt, I was going to ask, as we get down through this Circuit of the Americas race, what trends do you expect to see from these drivers, these GT3 cars here at this circuit?
Well, I expect to see a lot of the pack get spread out through that first sector. Really, on the first lap, it's very, very difficult to go side by side through there. So, off the start, gaining position is going to be oh so important through turns 1 and 2. And once you hit turns 3 and that start of that S's section, then you're really going to have to kind of tuck in behind and wait till turn 12 after that long backstretch to make your next overtaking move. But there could be other overtaking moves as well. We saw in the F1 race in turn 19, the penultimate corner, we saw moves there from Sebastian Vettel. If he had the car to do it around the outside of turn 18, is going to be your best bet to set it up, move up in turn 19. But I think the favorite overtaking spot for these guys and girls is going to be turn 12 and turn 1.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Zachary DeWall, really good drive, really good traction off that corner, that kind of triple apex right there that you saw. Now he will come around the final corner and look to see what he can lay down. Will it be another fast lap? Coming to the line, yeah, actually the pit says out lap, but he should have one, and yeah, not going to improve on that previous lap. So stays at a 2:04.530. But we tell you what, the times have picked up. It's Cohen Evans in P3 with a 2:03.8. Jordan Johnson, we talked about Kent State, 2:03.2 Jordan Johnson has in P2. And on top of the poll charts, top of the qualifying charts with a 2:02.9. So just getting in the 2-second club, our Muhammad Alif able to go and carry that out. And actually, Muhammad Alif doing a really good showing. About 50 drivers placing 7th at an FIA competition. So freshly returned to his home rig in Ball State and perhaps a bit jet lagged. Sitting on top, still taking pole is Muhammad Alif, and I think that speaks to the talent pool here in CIL, these schools, as big piece of curve from that 0-2 machine. Zach DeWall, don't know if this will be a fast lap, but I'll tell you who is right now. Austin DeLong has just put in a really good previous sector. I think there's about 5 sectors that iRacing automatically breaks this track down into. But underway here, Zach DeWall from, Austin DeLong from Penn College of Technology. He's coming through the final sector and maybe a little bit too far behind for a tow, but he will have the full downforce on that Porsche machine. He comes through now, and that's such a fun part of the track to be able to go hit the throttle, let your car turn, the downforce do the work through the penultimate corner where we saw Ross Chastain make his way to the lead in the NASCAR race that went there this year, not without a bit of controversy, and back onto the front stretch. It'll be a lap for that 22 machine, and it looks like he will post a 2:08.738. So good sector there, but not enough of a lap to put together. So these drivers now coming down about a minute or so left in qualifying. Still need to put these times in. Coming to the line now is Edwin Onofre, we said, from North Texas. That school, really good traction, and that's what the Mercedes is going to do well, is dig out of those corners. It doesn't want to rotate too much. I was able to do a little race previously in the Lamborghini, a mid-engine machine with a lot of power, but man, so difficult to keep the power down and stay out of traction control as we get to the end there. So Those front engine cars are going to have the advantage on some of the drives off of these corners, but through that middle sector, I really would hope to have maybe the agility in the S's of a middle engine machine. Matt, you have the starting grid.
Absolutely. It's going to be R. Muhammad Ali from Ball State University setting that pole position time at 202.867 in the end. Right behind him, his championship rival, Jordan Johnson of Kent State. He's going to be about 3/10 behind. Cone Evans out of IUPUI set a great lap time. Start darting in third position, and Edwin Onofre from University of North Texas will be fourth. Zachary DeWale from St. Clair College in fifth. With Jacob Cummings, we saw him earlier in qualifying to his outside in sixth. Hunter Hadesti, the first alumni in qualifying tonight from Clemson, in seventh, and then Nicholas Daly, his alumni uh, rival, in eighth. Next to him, Ian Brown from Mesa Community College in ninth, and Athena LeClaire in 10th from St. Clair College. Rounding out your top 12 will be Nicholas Patinella from Robert Morris University, and then in 12th, Jonathan Webb from UNC Charlotte. 13th is another St. Clair College car in Daniel Hunter. 14th has Cale Davidson from Ball State University. 15th has Blake Ellison from Avery University. And 2 is outside Austin DeLong from Pennsylvania College of Technology. Behind Austin DeLong are a couple cars who did not set qualifying times tonight. Those include Victor Roldan in his first CiL GT3 race. In 17th, Andrew Burrell in 18th from Clemson University. Alexander Hogarth from St. Clair College in 19th. Justin Fradrick from Minnesota State in 20th, and Kyle Wood rounds out your field in 21st from Ball State University. Well, Josh, I think we're going to have a great race here tonight as these drivers get ready to start their pace lap. I think it's going to be so important to see some action into turn one to really get your positions. What do you expect into this first corner? Do you expect a little bit of caution from some of these guys, or do you think it's going to be, right onto the pedal right off the start?
Yeah, I think kind of like the Formula One race, it will be onto the pedal. And I think we can take a couple key indicators from there. The mentality of all the drivers will be that, if only they can get just one spot, get cleared before they get to the S's, right? That'll be a great spot for them. And then I think that we may have some really courageous drivers who might go a little bit deep on the brakes. Think about George Russell and Carlos Sainz in the first turn of the Circuit of the Americas race here previously. So I think it will be. It's going to be a high risk situation, and that's so much of this event. And even the second event is going to be decided in the first lap. Whether it's a lot of cars and incidents, or whether it turns out to be, pretty polite and the drivers deciding that they can be wise and make it to the end. So these drivers doing the short formation lap now, probably about a minute or so till they take the green flag, but. These drivers are going to be warming their brakes, making sure their settings, their balance in their car is correct, checking that brake bias again. Really, never a dull moment as iRacing and sim racing has pulled out more stops in these cars, modeled more features than we have seen. That it is possible to have a lot of options behind the wheel. So just like Formula One, you're changing a lot of dials, pushing a lot of buttons. But that time is complete. The pace car has pulled off, and these cars are going to get underway. Ball State University going to lead the way. And when did they go? Actually, a little bit of slip for that Mercedes, but these drivers underway and straight into turn one. It is Jordan Johnson trying to get around Muhammad Alif. Defending down to the inside. They'll fan out now, trying to get on the brakes, take the good line into turn one. That Porsche going to try and have an advantage. Don't know if it'll be there in the S's. Probably not worth the risk. And so those two off and a little bit of a gap already behind. The battle rages on. Yeah, the Porsche thought about it, but Kent State, it's a long race. No need to do that on lap one. You can see the cars trying to scoot around those giant yellow turtles. Got to miss those, but be very close for a good lap time. Right there, it's looking like Mercedes, Porsche, and we know that the Porsche right now, with the balance of power in iRacing, going to be very powerful as we go underway here. So pulling out, and this is the long straight where these drivers are going to try and get a tow. And looks like Jacob Cummings is going to try and put a move and maybe a little bit of a door on Onofre there. And yeah, the outside line prevails, and now it's going to be the big power of that Mercedes. Actually, the Ferrari, no slouch either in a straight line as we've seen, and he'll have a little bit of a tow here. Jacob Cummings, can he move that Wingate machine out just in time? Looks like he'll look outside. Who can be bravest on the brakes down into turn one? The Wingate with a nose, and yes, just a little bit of, we call it Formula One defense, out and move the car aside. But there is trouble for Nicholas Patinella from Robert Morris University as these cars battle on. A little bit of contact there and a gaggle of 4 or 5 cars or so trying to get ahead. Now Blake Ellison inside of that St. Clair College. It's going to be the 40 machine right there. St. Clair College going to try and work. And is that Muhammad Alif there in the red Ball State machine, or is that a sister paint scheme? No, sorry, Alif back up at the front in the 12 machine. So all is right for the Ball State crew at the moment as they come on. It's actually a little bit loose there from Daniel Hunter in the 49 machine, now being overtaken by the 38 Ball State machine. That's 2 entrants for those cars, and about to come back on the outside. The Porsche genuinely pretty good on the brakes, but looks like a car in front. Will it be 3 wide into turn 1? I don't think so at this point. Everybody pretty much agrees on their braking point and trying to make that apex. Who can do it the best? A little bit wide for St. Clair College, but again, we talked about the track comes back to them, and looks like they will make it through the S's. And Matt, if you can get position into the S's with a little bit of clean air out front, it's a possibility to make progress forward.
Yeah, absolutely. As I think we saw Tina Leclerc spin in the S's there. Really, I think the S's is your best chance at this track to really pull out a bit of a gap because of just how long some of these straightaways are. Into turn 12 is a massive opportunity for cars to catch up and use that slipstream behind you to make some time up on you. So if you can really stretch your legs into the S's with a little bit of clean air, then you can definitely start to pull out some quick laps because it's so hard to judge your points and your turn-in points while you're behind the rear wing of another car. So that clean air always so valuable.
It is certainly, and especially when car stability is in question. And I know that Leclerc and actually Alexander Hogarth that you saw there, both wiggling their way around the track. It is so difficult when you can't trust your car and you have to get on the gas, in that the Lamborghini especially, where it does like to rotate, and sometimes it wants to rotate even when it shouldn't. And that can make it a little bit difficult for the drivers. You can see there on your screen, Nicholas Daly from the University of Texas at Arlington, the Mercedes driver. He's trying to go to work on that Mesa Community College machine. Ian Brown getting his mirror filled up right now. Coming around the second to last turn and going down into the final turn. The car is closing up on the brakes, and then that off camber, you can see right there that Mercedes with a pretty good work off of the corner, but not sure if he'll be able to get there by the time turn 1 comes around. Back under heavy braking. These cars going to try and make their best apex into the corner. And this is where, yeah, if you can't do the move by turn 1, it's probably best to wait till after the S's. I think that's what Daly is doing. Nick Daly right now, as you can see on your scoring tower, is going to have his sights set not too far up the road on Hunter Hedesti from Clemson University. That driver gonna try and put as much space as he can between himself and Ian Brown, and he'll try and go and catch Zach DeWale, who is not too far up the road either. So you can see 4 cars in your screen there, not too far separated. Ball State University's Cale Davidson is also running here in this group, trying to chase down David Hunter. We talked about Blake Ellison from Averett University, running really well up in front, leading this 3-car expedition. And they're going to try and make their way back down. And actually, let's see if this Porsche, if Davidson in the Mercedes can get around the Porsche. I don't know if he's close enough for the tow. He's going to be in about the right spot right at the time they have to get on the brakes. which is going to be a little bit difficult. Yeah, down past that 200, 150 board. It looks like everybody agreeing on their position for this time around. You can see that Porsche using up all the track, the rumble strip, and Justin Friedrich trying to look inside but didn't think the move was on. Nick Patinella, you can see behind from Robert Morris University, trying to chase that Minnesota State machine. There you can see that distinctive purple and orange Clemson University, and a little bit defensive. Let's see how this goes, because it is an opportunity for a crossover. Can that McLaren get the drive off? A little bit of out of bounds there. These cars crossing that white line with 4 tires, that would be what's called an off track in iRacing, going out of bounds, but there are a couple of fouls to give for each of these drivers, similar to a Formula One event, before a genuine warning comes forth. But going down the inside, that is Ian Brown being overtaken, or being attempted maybe. As you can see, the University of Texas at Arlington trying to get in. Nick Daly completes the pass, and I think he will have this one wrapped up. A bit defensive into turn 2, but nothing doing. So now he can put the pedal down in that Mercedes-Benz, and he will do his best. To see you right there in your shot, that Clemson machine of Hunter Hedesti there, trying to work through. The BMW is always, I feel like it's a little bit vanilla at times, as the 3 car trying to come back, and is he taking away some position from that Mercedes? And the Ferrari and the Mercedes are going to go back down into this corner. It's a bit defensive. It's very defensive from Texas at Arlington, and back in the corner. Will they be late on the brakes? The Ferrari actually just kind of missing the turn a little bit. And back right down. He will have the toe now, but yeah, this is a battle between Ian Brown and Nicholas Daly in that distinctive Texas at Arlington scheme. Back down in the corner, he will go defensive again, and we see so much braking action, but looks like Mercedes, we know the Mercedes as well, very good, exceptionally good on the brakes, and no exception there. It looks like that this third sector will be had by that Mercedes, and so Texas at Arlington, and Nick Daly free to attempt once again to put a little space, but Ian Brown is not far behind, and it's a good one to watch, that 280 machine. Back up at the front, still just managing the gap, I think, is Muhammad Ali for Ball State University. That driver, really, no news is good news when you're in the lead, and we can see as well that Kent State, Jordan Johnson in hot pursuit, but just managing that gap right now. It's still pretty young in the race. Not even 10 minutes of 25 minutes completed, as we see Daniel Hunter dive into the pits. No incentive here. It's a short race. Shouldn't need tires. Shouldn't need fuel. Maybe something out of line on that Porsche for St. Clair College. But I'll tell you who is popping up is Cohen Evans. Is kind of joining this battle. 3 seconds back, just trying to make his way forward, be consistent, and get in position. Probably not yet, but his best bet would be to be in position when those two, should they come together, should an opportunity present itself, as we've seen so much, especially at this track, where drivers are trying to negotiate each other, and it's not always as give and take as you'd like. But speaking of Ball State University, Cale Davidson trying to get around that feisty Lamborghini of Averett University and Blake Ellison, and yeah, tough part of the track to do it on, but he's got a chance now. It's sideways. He really got through there, and I wonder, that was such a speed differential. Did Ellison slip a little bit? We know that Lamborghini is tough at bringing on the traction control when you really don't want it, and did the car decide that it didn't want to go? But nonetheless, that Mercedes, Cale Davidson, +1 for Ball State University. He's got the power down, and he is away. Don't know if that toe is going to bring that Lamborghini back into play. It would be a very late lunge if it did. But here we see back underneath, not defensive from the Mercedes, but tucked right up underneath. And Matt, I think if Averett can hang there for a lap, the next time down that long straight, there should be a pretty good opportunity for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Cale Davidson just took advantage of a little bit of a moment from Blake Ellison there through turn 9. That, over the hill, you get a little bit loose, so it can be very, very easy to almost lose the car. So just lift off the gas a little bit, keep the car under you, but you use a lot of time if you lift coming out of turn 9, just because it leads to a bit of a short straightaway before turn 11. So unfortunate for Blake Ellison there, but Blake Ellison still in a very good spot to have a very high position in the second race due to that top 12 invert. But yeah, great move from Kel Davidson to see what was going on and take advantage of it.
No, it is really good. You can see right there, Blake Ellison now about split between the competitor ahead and the competitor behind that 22 machine. Austin DeLong from the Pennsylvania College of Technology in that Porsche. So they say the Porsche has an advantage, not always when I drive it, but could be a skill issue. But Blake Ellison trying to get down the road and through the S's again. Now that, I will say, now that the little bit of fuel's burned off, Nick Daly around trying to find his way on track. Looks like he's somewhere in the first sector. So just after the S's, he's taken that left hand and he's continued on, unfortunately, after the turn was ended. As we can see that weight transferring over to the right side, a bit of curb, and not sure where it went wrong. Yeah, just sliding already at the apex. He was sliding, and good on Mesa Community College, able to avoid that. Nick Daly, maybe the only individual to map that TC override button to get that car back, spun around and underway, but not before losing a couple of positions. We talked about he was fighting Hunter Hedesti, not so much now, but back up at the front, Jordan Johnson, Kent State University, trying to put a dent in that championship lead with 3 races to go, and so that driver in the 4 machine is going to try and wait his time, look for any mistakes from our Muhammad Ali and Ball State University. And Ball State University, you can always talk about as another program that's really expanding their reach, putting resources into that program, and looking out for talent, and developing the talent. You can see that here with Ball State in the lead, and we've talked about Cale Davidson in a positive light a number of times this evening. And so as we go into the S's one more time, always something fun to watch as the young industry of sim racing in college grows. And right there, trying to put his name on board as well, Jordan Johnson, as Kent State University tries to maneuver their way through, but probably not a must-win situation right here. Still about 10 minutes to go in this race. And Matt, I will note that the incident counts for these drivers is up a little bit, maybe more than we've seen at other tracks, and so drivers like these leaders here, 4. So I don't think it was a car contact. I think that a couple of these top 2 drivers have each taken a couple excursions off track, and in a non-official iRacing session with your stats and safety rating not in play, these drivers have 17 off tracks to play with, basically to use to their advantage, to extend, and so that's your those are your fouls to give, so to speak. But a little bit of a slip from that 12 machine right there, and gathers it back up and back underway. Yeah, really nothing doing. It's going to take a bigger opportunity than that if Kent State is going to capitalize. These drivers making their way back around front, and 10 laps to go, probably, about 10 minutes to go, probably about 6 laps or so. These drivers make their way back through the front. Back in the field, we can see Ball State University as well. Cal Davidson about a second down on Nick Daly. As we saw, Nick Daly had a little trouble trying to get pointed the right direction, and now holding steady and probably just kind of hanging in the toe for a little bit is that bright red BSU machine of Cale Davidson. And running top 10. 2 things, certainly really making a really good impression, and really filling up the notebook with a lot of good information tonight. Just very consistent from Davidson's machine, but should that invert come around, that would be a P3 start in race number 2 tonight with the top 12 inverted. So that would be not a bad spot to be in either for Cal. So that 28 machine, we'll see if Ball State can keep that position and keep the first position. So if you like to hedge your bets, Ball State is a pretty good position with those 2 drivers. Another battle on track right now, Jonathan Webb, he lets actually Edwin Onofre by as a lap car. Probably some blue flags in the picture there. So you can see Edwin Onofre, Jacob Cummings, separated by about a second. These drivers each trying to do their best, but that's what every other driver is doing as well. So falling back to P5 is Zach DeWale from St. Clair College, and he's trying to get moved up the running order just a bit, and he'll be the next to hopefully benefit from those blue flags of UNC Charlotte. UNC Charlotte had a tough start at fault for an incident in this race. We talked about the opening laps of these events can be so contentious, and at fault was found to be Jonathan Webb. So he'll be looking forward to a fresh slate and new beginnings of the second event here tonight. But right now, that is the case. So back up at the front, the leader continues to be hounded by Jordan Johnson. Excuse me. And Kent State University. And I'll tell you what, if you like mental competitions, what better way to get in your opponent's head? As a late move to the inside, that Porsche trying to outbrake on the inside. Now he'll be on the outside of this sweeping turn and not quite able to get that done. Looks like he'll fall back in line. But I was going to say, what better way than just to sit in your opponent's mirror all race? But perhaps the better way is to make moves like that. If you sit in line the whole time, that becomes the tendency, the exception being to pull out a line and get it done. And so really keen move from the 4 machine there, and fun and entertaining, but nothing doing yet. And it is so hard, Matt, as you can see another off track right there. It is so hard to get that job done, especially under the brakes there in turn 1, because if you don't do a little bit of a slide job and clear your opponent completing the pass towards the end of the race, or towards the end of the corner, excuse me, then it's your opponent's advantage as you get into that right-hand turn 2 shortly thereafter. So, Matt, it was a good move, but maybe a bit early in the race.
Well, I don't think so, because I think our Muhammad Alif has a car that's very, very good in the first sector. Or I don't know if that's just Jordan Johnson being stuck in the dirty air through those quick S's, but in that last sector of the track, Jordan Johnson really catches a lot of time on our Muhammad Alif. So I think Jordan Johnson is starting to realize, as we can see here, how much Jordan Johnson has just caught up in this sector of corners here. Because I think it's going to be, turn 1 is going to be his best opportunity to make a move for the lead, just because of how well he positions that car through the last couple of sectors. And he knows in that first sector, Alif's just going to pull out too big of a gap for him to make a move into turn 12. So we'll see if he's close enough to make a move this time around, but still about 6 minutes left to go in this race. He's about half a second back now, but even through that last corner, he gained almost a tenth of a second, and that's going to give him speed all the way down this front stretch into the first corner. We'll see if he makes a move from this far back again.
He did, and we can stay on this battle because there was a big battle brewing for 12th position where Friedrich and Minnesota State University was going to try to make an attack on the 22 machine in Pennsylvania College of Technology, but 22 a little bit loose right there. So your new 12th position runner, Minnesota State University, and that'll be really significant when we handle this invert. That'll be the pole position. Some other orange battles on your screen are going to be Daniel Hunter and Nick Potnella, as well as Athena Leclerc trying to make a run on her St. Clair College teammate there to get in the top 15 for this event. But Matt, I gotta agree. I think that that 12 machine just pulls away as it goes, through the first sector there, and it is really difficult, especially if you're in the Porsche and you're on throttle and you want to make that turn. I think we've seen Jordan Johnson run wide a few times there. He's actually got 12 incidence points of 17 points right now. Because that car might not have the bite he needs, that advantage is going to go to the Mercedes. But right here, Matt, where he's on the brakes, he's trying to maneuver that car, that Porsche is going to come in to its own, and that Mercedes could be just a touch more lethargic. And actually, Victor Roldan, we talked about, is now back around, just trying to get underway, but had a bit of an issue with the 22 machine, and is trying to get that car turned around. And so Athena Leclerc moving up your scoring pylon into 14th, 15th position, held by Austin DeLong. But you can see right here that Porsche of Jordan Johnson Kent State University trying to do all they can to stay in position, and a little bit of a gap there through that sector as Ball State University turned it on a little bit for the final edge of the race. That would be a little bit intelligent to keep some in the tank to save those tires. Don't want to get them too hot because you know your opponents are going to try and turn it up a little bit towards the end, and so should you. So going into the first sector, looks like this is the status quo, but Nick Patnella as well, still trying to work on Daniel Hunter. Those drivers staying, in fact, back, so those drivers swapping positions on your scoring pylon. But this is the battle right now, and Cohen Evans a bit out of your picture, but these two drivers in a class of their own right now. Kent State University and Ball State University trying to get to the front.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we had a good shot there of just how much speed our Muhammad Leaf is really able to carry through those S's. Really coming out of turn 9, it's almost incredible how fast he is. I thought, he's got a ton more downforce on his car potentially than Jordan Johnson, or maybe Jordan Johnson just had a bad first sector, as he's now about 7/10 behind a Leaf with only about 3 minutes left in this race. So when they get to the stripe, it'll probably be the last lap to go. We'll have to double check when we get there. But further back in the field, Zachary DeWale and Hunter Hidesti are both fighting it out for the 6th position right now. Coming down into turn 12 now, I believe. We'll get a look on your screens as the St. Clair College car and the Ferrari is trying to chase down that big BMW from Clemson University as DeWale moves to the inside down the long back stretch. This is going to give him a great opportunity to make a move under braking into turn 12, really the best overtaking spot on the track, and he doesn't even have to wait till turn 12 to get the move done, as he's done the move before they even got to the braking zone. So that's Zachary DeWale up one more position into P6. He's our biggest mover of the race so far. Oh, excuse me, he's actually down a couple, a spot, but our biggest mover of the race so far, Justin Friedrich in 12th position right now, up 7 spots.
Yeah, Justin Friedrich really putting the good move on this race. Important because he's made that top 12. He's made that invert, and looks like that Porsche has made that gap a lot smaller going into these closing laps, and surely no more than 3 laps to go. Could be less, as you can see that timing up there on your screen. And so back down into the first sector, this is where that Mercedes so strong. A little bit in the S's, but also as we get up in the run, up the hill and over the hill, basically right here, that's where that Mercedes is going to be planted, that engine in the front, keeping a little bit more weight on the front wheels and a little bit of grip. You can see that gap stretching out just a little bit now, and a little bit wide for Ball State University. Not the advantage there. Is this an opportunity? Who can get off the corner the best? It's going to be all about traction coming out of this turn. Very tight, very slow. These cars cranking up to speed now, up through the gears and the revs. Can Kent State University get the toe? I'm not sure if that's the closing rate that they need. You could say do it late on the brakes, but that Mercedes is not the car that I want to pass under a test of the brakes. And you can see a little bit defensive. Muhammad Alif knows that is going to be the opportunity. And now we go into Sector 3, where we find out, how can Johnson, Kent State University, how can he set this up? Getting on the outside, he will try to position that car just in the right spot, and a little bit of early braking right there, and maybe some tactical braking from Ball State University. And will it be defensive into the corner? He's going to try and put a nose. No contact there, but it could have been, and a great shot from our crew as we go down into the second to last curve. And going to be 1 or 2 more laps to go, surely, for these drivers now using up their off tracks. They can do that. They will do that here towards the end. And really good exit for that Porsche right there. Is this under the brakes? You can see the white flag in your screen right there, both of them. And defensive down into turn 1. Which way does he go? Kent State University pushed to the outside. And now he's going to try to make the 12 deep on the brakes. He'll try and make a run back, but yeah, now the advantage to the 12 machine. That's going to be Ball State University maintaining that position into the S's. And is it time to go side by side? Nah, not quite. thinks better of it, doesn't really have the position. An incident there would have been the fault of that white Porsche on your screen. So Kent State University, no choice but to go there, and some really smart, not overly aggressive, but smart and tactical defense from that red Mercedes there. Ball State University doing everything they can to stay in front, and it may come down here to a test of the brakes as these drivers try and get on. Remember, it is the last lap back underway and straight off the corner. Good traction for the 4 car, but I think he gave up some apex speed, and it's going to be a drag race about dead even down into the corner. And Muhammad Ali, about 10 incident points to his name. He's got some fouls to give, but 16 points, so no more excursions for Jordan Johnson. That Porsche on your screen, he's got to keep it in bounds if he's going to get the job done here. And you can see he is going to try and set this up. And again, maybe some early braking, try and throw off his opponent there. Alif using every trick to get this done. And big contact right now. That will be a black flag for Jordan Johnson on the scoring pylon. He's got it. And we will see how iRacing scores this. Surely he's not going to pull into the pits, but iRacing will apply that retroactively. Nonetheless, these two drivers back around, and he's going to try and make that move. Nothing doing in the second to last corner. Big off track now, and yeah, he can do that. So it will be second position and then some for Jordan Johnson. Oh man, great win for Ball State University. Our Muhammad Alif, really good run, Matt. That was fun to watch, but man, pretty tough, pretty early on the brakes right there, and got in notice again. Blake Ellison gonna try and come home in that 12th position. In fact, can he get 11th here as he goes, or would he want to get 11th? Certainly, he wants the extra points payout. But he's looking underneath, and yeah, it looks like Minnesota State University is going to keep this position underway. These cars coming to their checkered flag. Averett University in pursuit of Minnesota State. Coming around that deep swinging right-hander, just that really fun sweeper down a little bit off camber. The second to last corner, and then off camber again. Yeah, I think he's decided he will start from pole. Blake Ellison and Averett University's Lamborghini. He will be able to start that second race with the invert. And Matt, I think it was one to remember at the front, and a couple good battles throughout. My question to you, is it something that? Oh man, I'm thinking about the contact. Was it avoidable between the top two runners? Pretty hard on the brakes there if you're Ball State University.
Yeah, well, I think all contact for the most part can be considered avoidable, but was Ball State University checking up early and trying to really defend that inside line into that tight left-hander? You can't really do anything around the outside there because it's so tight. And I'm not sure if our Muhammad Alif was aware of how many incident points Jordan Johnson had, but surely Jordan Johnson had to have known earlier on. Our Muhammad Alif did break earlier into the corner, and he almost got in the back of him then. So I'm surprised that he was not expecting it again in that last lap. So I think it's unfortunate for Jordan Johnson. Not quite sure how iRacing is going to score that penalty, as he did not come in to serve the black flag. So I believe, if I could be mistaken here, but I think I'll put him on the tail end of the lead lap, or either a 30-second penalty. We'll have to see what happens in race 2, but unfortunate for Jordan Johnson, because that's going to cost him a lot of points in this championship battle.
Yeah, it was. Looking at the final results through iRacing, can see that he did collect a bit of a penalty, probably 35 seconds or so. That would be the gap. So scored officially, Jordan Johnson, Kent State University, with a 7th place finish in that first heat. And that means they will start 6th for the second race. And competitor Ball State University will start in 12th. And will be fun for the fans, maybe stressful for those two drivers. And yeah, I tend to know, I think a lot of these drivers, especially at this level, have the ability to know the circumstances of their opponents. And so that is a strategy, however, upstanding. We knew that had some fouls to give, but Jordan Johnson did not. So if Alif wants to do that, he's within his rights to do so. And so that's a risk for Johnson as well. And maybe the alternative is to place that Porsche on the outside of the turn to avoid any heavy braking. And you really then at that point are committed to carrying your momentum around the outside of that corner. Hope that you can just keep a nose and an axle on the inside, and then you would have a chance on that long right-hand sweeper that we're familiar with here. So those would be the options. But hindsight is always 2020, and that will be the grid as they roll off. So these drivers now going through a little bit of warm up. If they're not getting water or talking to their teams, talking it over, maybe a little bit of setup change. We talked about the temperature at the beginning has not changed from 70 degrees, so that's a feature of these clouds overhead. This track is going to stay about 70 degrees. That's the feature of these fall months as we enter the month of November. That's just the way it is, Matt. It's going to be a little bit more mild, and these drivers are going to love it because it's cooler and rain has not yet been modeled.
Oh, I know these drivers really are not going to be holding their breath when rain comes. I think they're all going to be hoping if it's cloudy, it's going to stay cloudy and dry, most importantly. But I think, especially around a track like this where grip is so important, especially that first sector, it's going to be so important with these lower track temperatures to take advantage of that, because not only do you get more grip in the corners, but also you get a little bit less tire wear, so you can be more aggressive with your cambers, your I can't remember the toe of the car. You can be more aggressive with all sorts of setup options. That's going to give you a little bit of speed as well, as this series is open setup. Every driver can tune their car to their liking. So if they want a little bit of oversteer, they can have it. A little bit of understeer, they can have it. But I don't know why anybody would want understeer in their car, as uh, just a couple minutes remaining in this little warm up session between races. As I think it's going to be very interesting, as Jordan Johnson is starting up in sixth, like you mentioned earlier. That's going to give him a great advantage over his championship rival, Muhammad Ali. He's in front of him by another 6 positions, as Elite will start in 12th. So that's going to give him time to get through the field quicker and maybe pull out a bit of a gap in front and potentially take charge of this race.
Yeah, that will be a big opportunity. And the key, as you say, will be can Kent State University get up into the front in an efficient manner, because that is going to be time to pull away from the Ball State car, as Ball State could be mired back in traffic trying to navigate those waters. But a really good opportunity for those drivers. But as we saw on the first lap in the opening stages of the previous heat, anything can happen on that first lap, and right, you can be tapped and you can be bumped on the inside of those storms. That top 12 is going to be a battle, right? Cohen Evans is going to start 11th, right next to, or in fact, right in front of our Muhammad Ali, and he'll want to be up front. Especially Jacob Cummings is going to want to stay in front of Cohen Evans, right? Those Cohen Evans with IU, PUI, Wingate University represented by Jacob Cummings. Those drivers separated by exactly 1 point in the championship, and that matters. And those drivers are going to want to push their way up to the front. And Matt, it looks like we are time for our second starting grid of the night.
And absolutely, and starting in pole position for race 2 of the evening, it's going to be Blake Ellison from Averett University, finishing 12th in race 1. He's going to get the benefit of that reverse grid pole, and to his outside is going to be Justin Frederick. Our biggest mover in race 1, he's going to start second from Minnesota State University. Kel Davison in third. We saw him put up a great fight for Ball State University with Nicholas Daly to his outside from University of Texas at Arlington. Hunter Hadesti from Clemson starts fifth, with Jordan Johnson in sixth after a penalty to end race 1. He'll be sixth after finishing second on the track in race 1. Ian Brown from Mesa Community College will be seventh, and Zachary DeWale to his outside from St. Clair College. Edwin Onofre from University of North Texas in ninth, and Jacob Cummings from Wingate University in 10th. Cohen Evans, we saw him have a bit of a lonely race in race 1. He'll hope to have a more exciting one in race 2. And then to his outside is our race 1 winner, Muhammad Ali. We'll see if he can make his way through the field, and that's going to be your top 12 for the race. Positions 13 through 19, the same exact way they finished the race 1, as it looks like our drivers are begun to start their formation lap.
That they have all back going into the third sector here. Short formation lap again for these drivers. And I think that we can see it'll be a little bit more patient as these drivers have already got one mega start out of their system, we suspect. But generally, the second heat is a little bit more feisty, a little bit more incidents. The stewards will be a little bit more busy in this one as these drivers try and get every position. The points payout is equal between the first heat and the second heat, but something about finishing the night in a good position drives everybody to drive a little bit harder. So these drivers will try to negotiate their own mentality and their own skill and their opponents as they get around this circuit of the Americas racetrack. You can see that Porsche 911 pace car about to make the second to last corner and pull off. Reminder, your pole sitter is going to be Blake Ellison in that blue and yellow Lamborghini. Averett University on the inside. And the best thing they can do is get a jump on Justin Friedrich from Minnesota State University. Get out to a jump. Ball State University, we talked about both cars doing well and up in third place. That's the red machine of CiL Davidson. And actually not starting yet. A bit of a gaggle at the front, but now gets started. Nick Daly going to try and make it 3 wide, so this one will not be so patient. 4, 5 wide, these drivers try and use the full width of the Circuit of the Americas. Heavy braking now down under the front, and Jordan Johnson is going to come out your leader, at least competing. He's going to do his best alongside that Clemson machine of Hunter Hedesti. He went 6th place to 1st. We talked about it. That was his mission to get to the front. He's done it through the S's as they run. Jordan Johnson, Hunter Hedesti, Ian Brown, and Nick Daly we saw in the middle of that. Really unique start from the Averett University machine from 1st to 5th right now. He'll try and get some of those positions back in that Lamborghini. As you can see, the University of Texas at Arlington trying to make his way back to Hunter Hedesti. You can see the red machine right there, Ball State University. Both Ball State cars trying to get around the Wingate University machine, a bit defensive, but doesn't want to give up the whole line right there. Yeah, you knew that was going to happen. Very deep on the brakes from Alif. He's got to do it. His main rival getting away right now up at the front, already pulling a bit of a gap. And yeah, now it's a drag race, and the Ferrari of Wingate University, not the car you want to drag race, but can he get him on the brakes? Surely he'll try, but will it work? As you can see, Averett University trying to maintain position right there. This first lap pretty exciting. Now Ball State University in front. This will be an advantage for Wingate. How will the team manage this from Ball State? As they go around the corner, you can see Edwin Inofre, defensive. He doesn't want to give anything up. These drivers now trying to go in the corner. If you see Texas at Arlington, sideways, getting back underway, and was just going to say, if you are Ball State, you don't want to get caught up in any of this. Alif right now past his Ball State teammate. Worked out. Not quite yet. So yeah, Cal Davidson is now trying to work on that St. Clair College machine. That is Zach DeWale, the Griffins Ferrari on your screen. And you can see a big hit right there, and very late on the brakes. Call it a bump and run, although maybe not by design. Cal Davidson very late on the brakes, and now Zach DeWall going to have a mirror full of Mercedes. That's going to be the University of Texas at Arlington trying to make a big move on the inside. It's 3 wide. Those drivers trying to get it done. And can Cohen Evans make it 4 wide? And everybody agrees on the running order. It will be St. Clair College, Texas at Arlington, and Ball State University making up your view right now with IUPUI itching just to get ahead. Remember that IUPUI and that Jaguar Porsche really wants to get up to Jake Cummings in that Wingate University machine and take over that position, take over those points. And he's going to try here. Can he get on the 38 machine, and can he set something up? It's going to be really hard to finish up in this corner. As you can see, Minnesota State University, Justin Friedrich getting his money's worth out of those tires on that car. And you can see Cohen Evans right there. Looks like Jacob Cummings, not a good run. Averett University going to have a good run. That Lamborghini going to power down, lots of cylinders in there. Going to go down into the final corner, and boy, Jacob Cummings in the middle of a sandwich right now. You can bet that Mercedes, Cale Davidson, what's his move going to be on the inside? Yeah, you knew it was going to be 3 wide. Down into the heavy braking zone. The Mercedes generally good on the brakes, but can he get it stopped? Jacob Cummings going to try and cross it over, but doesn't quite have the drive off. It's defensive from Alif. move down on the inside. Ball State University going to try and close this one out, and that will be the position done. So Alif trying to get up. It's still about 6 seconds and a couple cars off of his main rival, Kent State University, up front. But that's a little bit of clean air for the 12, and that's a little bit of a tow for Wingate University's Jacob Cummings as he tries to put that Ferrari forward. I'll tell you who I liked right now in third position is Ian Brown from Mesa Community College. Avoided the early bedlam and has found himself a nice little spot right there, putting that Ferrari P3 and doing it pretty cleanly as well.
Yeah, we take a look at Cone Evans now further back to the field in that IUPUI Jaguar Porsche. He's going to look to the inside of Blake Ellison into turn one. He's going to be deep on the brakes, but he's going to get that move done into the apex. Blake Ellison just braking a little bit earlier there, trying to avoid some contact and just think about scoring some good points with trying to minimize those incidents because he wants to use them for off tracks rather than in contact. As looks like we had Nicholas Daly spin out earlier too. We saw him fighting for position in that mid-pack battle, and it just unfortunately looks like he spun and hit the wall. But Justin Friedrich now is going to be eyeing up a move on Blake Ellison here. Friedrich had some good pace in race one. He was our biggest mover. We'll see what kind of positions he can make up in race two as he looks for a move on Ellison here.
Yeah, back down into the corner. You can see actually Athena Leclerc in the Ferrari going to try and put a move on Cale Davidson. That Mercedes, can it work a crossover move? No, actually right over the curve there. I think that's an off track for the 61. Probably not the fastest route across the track, but it's going to be a good exit for Ball State University there. That's Cale Davidson. Can he make this move down under the brakes? I don't know. That Lamborghini does have power as well. And another big Italian mid-engine machine. Think about the Ferrari. It's pretty hard to pass in a drag race. But I'll tell you who is enjoying this is Jordan Johnson up at the front. But we said overall it's going to be a bit more aggressive in the second race. And look at all the yellow and orange on your scoring tower. And actually look at Cale Davidson and Ball State trying to again work this out. Big trouble there. Looks like Minnesota, the Griffins, and contact again. The Porsche Clemson is involved. I want to say that is Andrew Burrell, the 23 machine there, who made contact. But three-car incident right in the middle of such a tight apex, Matt. It's impossible to see. It's even harder when there's cars perpendicular to the motion there. But going down into the final turn, looks like this running order shaken out a little bit. Athena Leclerc, your big winner in P9 for the St. Clair College Griffins. And then Cale Davidson trying to move up for Ball State University, followed by Minnesota State, Justin Frederick. And looks like we got a little battle going into turn one. Daniel Hunter on the inside of Patinella there in Robert Morris University. He's going to have that drive off and doesn't even need it. He's got the inside position here, and that's where you want to be. It's about a nice 90-degree sweeper, and anybody on the inside will find themselves generally in front. Or well enough ahead going into the S's, so you can see that McLaren shooting a little bit of fire, everybody's favorite part, out of the exhaust. A little bit of unburnt fuel for that driver, but up into the first sector just over the hill, and a pass right there. Looks like Athena Leclerc and spinning, so Athena Leclerc makes the pass for her 8th position, but spinning is Cale Davidson, and this field so tight together, there's going to be a lot of positions, and that incident has been noted by the stewards, and we will have to see what the conclusion of that is. A little bit of a slip for Minnesota State University, and Patinella now is around. Everybody is having trouble here in the midsection of this one. Looks like avoiding action was taken by Victor Rowland for St. Clair College, and made the wrong choice, went a bit wide there. So really tough for these drivers in the back, and you can see Cale Davidson now making up one more position who was off, but you can see under braking Mercedes, McLaren. You can see Robert Morris with a little bit of touch, and big touch right there from the 49. I believe that is Daniel Hunter from St. Clair College, and yeah, that's got to be so frustrating for Robert Morris and Nick Patinella, and as well to add insult to injury. But that driver really making a lot of good progress coming back from the first race, and really didn't earn any of that contact in that instance. Just the nature, I think, of race 2 here in the GT3 challenge. But we talked about it. Ian Brown now under fire from Muhammad Ali. Don't know if we should expect a lot of defense here. Really good race, and it is a bit of defense. He'll kind of move to the inside and, yeah, puts the 12 on a bit of the curb, and looks like Leaf actually, Ball State University is going to have to wait one more time through the S's to get the job done here. Maybe he can make a move towards the end, but again, the Ferrari is not a drag race that I want to be a part of, so it's a bit of a unique situation here. Ian Brown, how long can he hold up the driver behind? Ball State University's are Muhammad Alif. And then we see Edwin Onofre. Should anything happen here, University of North Texas and even IUPUI is going to be, you can see the light flash there. And under braking, can the Mercedes go? Yeah, a little bit of a dive in and deep, outbraked himself. And now Edwin Onofre. It's a Mercedes drag race, Matt. It's phenomenal. Down the back stretch, can Edwin Onofre make a move? Does he want to make a move? Yeah, now he's going to use as a pick. He's going to fall back in line, and they're going to dive down to the heavy braking section, Matt.
Yeah, it looked like Alif couldn't figure out if he wanted to make an overtake into turn 1 as he wants to do it now into turn 12 on Ian Brown, and he's going to get that done and move up into the 3rd position, that podium position, and Ian Brown is going to come under some heavy pressure from Onofre now as that University of North Texas Mercedes wants to move himself up another position and maybe even challenge for the podium later on if he can keep pace with Alif and maybe catch Hidesti later on. But yeah, a bit of chaos throughout this entire second race so far. I think the nature of the second race is the invert, and you have slow cars in the front and fast cars in the back. It's going to lead to some stack ups, and we've seen multiple stack ups this race as Onofre deep on the brakes into the penultimate corner there. I thought he was going to make a move, but couldn't quite stick it as he maybe thinks about a move towards the last corner, but he'll have a great opportunity into turn 1. Up Big Red, as they call it here at COTA. It's going to be an exciting move if he can get it done.
Yeah, up into turn 1, and if he has been watching that 3 machine, he knows that 3 machine turns in a little bit early. Does he want to take a late apex? Yeah, he's going to try it. He's going to get the drive off, but doesn't quite have the traction, and he's going to have to wait another corner to get it done. I'll tell you who is closing their gap a little bit is Cohen Evans, is inside of a second now to this battle, and I'll tell you who is enlarging that gap. You can see that Ball State University taking off. That Mercedes is on the hunt now for Hunter Hidesti, trying to look forward. And so 2 things. So the Ball State University crew, they're going to be in the market for points. They want positions right now, but they also want to make sure that they have a positive delta in the points championship to that leader, Jordan Johnson. That's significant because that gap between that P1 and P3 car is growing. It was 6th, then 7, now 8 seconds last time by at the line. As you can see, Edwin Onofre continuing to try, and now he's going to get the power down. Can he get a move? He'll have a little bit of a toe, a bit of a block down that Mercedes and that Ferrari going down into the braking zone. Cohen Evans definitively in this battle, and yeah, going to hold him down as long as he can to the line. Under braking in the final turn, you can see there that Mercedes is going to try and make the move. Will they have the ability here to keep a front axle inside? And this is the best part of Sector 3. These drivers trading the advantage back and forth. And Onofre going to have to set it up again. Doesn't quite get it done. And you can see those tires struggling for grip, and you can see that Onofre right now doesn't want to expose himself too much in a move. Let the hungry IUPUI Porsche behind make a move, but significant to that battle. Jacob Cummings actually now 1 position behind Cohen Evans at about 7 seconds behind Cohen Evans. So Cohen Evans not in a super hurry for these guys, but all he sees right now at his windshield is championship points, and gaining and increasing that lead to the championship. And yeah, back down into turn 1. We're going to have another event. Is Onofre going to try for another late apex here? He's actually going to try the inside. He'll try to be later on the brakes. He'll keep it, and a little bit wide, leaving the door open. Is that 3 machine? Ian Brown, contact. He tried to bring his way back and muscles his way back into that 5th position. It's a tough battle. We stick here. Alif, as you can see on your scoring tower, is making his way to that 2nd position. But we have this 3-way battle between Onofre, Evans, and Brown. Brown putting on a stellar defense, benefited from the invert previously in this race, and now Mesa Community College putting down a lot of pace through that Ferrari. And we will see now, yeah, Onofre has to be a little bit defensive. He's going to be defensive as Cohen Evans tries to look in, but got Evans to slide back in line. Actually, really well done from Onofre. And tell you what, if I'm Onofre, I'm going to get a little bit impatient here. Enough time, but it's that it's going to come into play. And so back into the corner. It's going to be another heavy braking event. That Ferrari pretty far out in front. Is he going to try and cross over? Bit of a curb right there, takes it over, and that Mercedes again. Onofre not quite able to close that gap. And so again, two held at bay by that Cohen Evans machine. And Cohen Evans, man, he's waiting for these drivers, Matt, to have a go at each other and see if he can sneak by.
Yeah, Ian Brown putting up a fantastic defense right now. He's doing a great job holding his position, just keeping that inside line a little tucked off as Onofre a little deep on the brakes into turn 19 there. But going into turn 20, it's going to be Ian Brown leading this pack as it looks like Cohen Evans is actually going to move done on the 99 machine of the UNT car. And it looks like he's going to have a good run out of the corner. He might try to make a move up into position 5 of this race. We did mention earlier on Alif was chasing down Hidesti, and that has happened. Alif has passed Hidesti for second place as Cohen Evans now makes a move to the inside of Edwin Onofre from University of North Texas. That inside line is going to give him the position going down into turn 2. So Cohen Evans in that quick IUPUI Jaguar machine is up another spot. Onofre maybe just a bit too patient waiting to get the move done on Ian Brown, and Evans took the opportunity to move himself up one more spot.
Yeah, he did. And if you saw that 7 machine, just faked a nose almost inside the final turn, and you could see that Onofre and the University of North Texas didn't quite hit that apex right there. And that was all it took. Then the 7 car had a run. And speaking of a run, man, IUPUI, he's not going to waste time. He wants it right now. And the roles are reversed. Onofre is going to keep him honest. However, back down they go down the long straight. Bit of a drafting and slipstream train here, but Cohen Evans is going to try and think, what can he do to set this up? And I'll tell you what, we talk about tendencies and seeing what these drivers can do. We know that Mesa Community College loves to be on the inside, defend right there, and so yeah, he will. And just push out wide, and Cohen Evans now in position. Actually looks like it's going to be about 3 wide almost into that corner, and the role's completely reversed now. Cohen Evans with a little bit of fresh air, and Mesa Community College gets their turn with Ian Brown sandwiched in the middle of this battle. Matt, this is phenomenal. And Edwin Onofre now, seeing again that familiar red and blue Ferrari. He's going to say, all right, now it's time to go back on the attack. But yeah, these drivers a little bit spread out. And, very well done also by that 7 machine and Cohen Evans for IUPUI to be able to work through that gaggle. That was a tough battle, and he asserted himself and was quite efficient. And he's going to try and see if he can get on down the road. Not sure if he'll be able to reach Alif as he did attempt in the first race, but in a really good position. And again, he is primarily focused on Jacob Cummings right now from Wingate University, and that's going to be a 7th place run currently for that team, about 5 seconds off of this battle on your screen right now. So that's going to be what these drivers are thinking about. Also, we talked about the gap up front. 9 seconds now. The gap has grown to 9 seconds up front. So damage has been mitigated for Ball State University, but Jordan Johnson up in the front right now. He may, if he can finish this race in first place, he'll have a positive championship delta. Take a couple points out of that lead, because if you remember, in the first race, it was Alif won. Actually, Alif in P1 and Jordan Johnson P2. P7. And so Jordan Johnson will need to do complete this win just to really mitigate the damage of that first race, because finishing 7th place as Alif placed his win, right, Ball State winning did not help the cause for Kent State. And so those schools trying to battle it out and run the best they can. Kent State especially. Right now you see on your screen Zach DeWale, under fire from Avery University. He's going to try and put that Lamborghini on the inside. Not much room there, but just enough for one car width. And Blake Ellison going to try and get it done. And actually, Really, really shallow into the corner. Not sure if he had to do that, but now very slow. They touch contact on the inside, and whose advantage will be? It will be the Ferrari. It will be St. Clair College, Averett University. Well enough to not overrun the corner. That's the primary concern, but you do need to carry a little bit of speed there. And now, yeah, just missed that apex, and now it's going to be pretty tough. As you can see, that Ferrari scoot just a little bit into the distance. You can also see Daniel Hunter for St. Clair College back in that 11th position there on your screen. So Ian Brown now still under fire from Edwin Onofre, and he's going to try and work the outside here. We know that he likes to do this late apex. I like this move. It is probably his best attempt, but he's got to get the traction, and he doesn't have it right now off the corner, as well as the apex speed. That I will say, that corner is not going to suit so well that Mercedes, and right now he's just trying to fill up that rear view mirror. You can see Onofre did grab that big yellow turtle on the inside, which was not such a great move, but Colin Evans now going to try and get around alumni Hunter Haddesty from Clemson University. And these two could put on a bit of a battle, and it's going to be pretty close right here as we go down into the corner. The look and the peak, but nothing doing it. Yeah, just baiting that car down to the inside and trying to get a better run off. I like that move as well, forcing the other driver to defend to the inside. In fact, the same thing again right here, but forcing the other driver to defend and then placing your car back on the outside and getting a really good run into the corner. But back now down into the end of the long straightaway. It's going to be on the outside. You can see the battle continues on the top of your screen for the two previous competitors, Onofre and Brown and Hunter Haddesty. Yeah, going to let that Jaguar competitor go. So Cohen Evans with a little bit of clean air now. Probably a fair move from both. Cohen Evans is going to be pretty motivated to keep that Porsche moving forward. Actually only 8 seconds now off of the car ahead, a leaf. So anything should happen there. That gap still about 9 seconds, 8.9 seconds since that gap stabilized. That's the perk. It's easy to make money when you have money, and Ball State University know that they don't have to go out and win this race. They've done really well up to this point. That black flag not serving Kent State University at all. But I'll tell you who continues to be unpassable here, at least in this instance, is Mesa Community College, and Ian Brown continues to keep that Mercedes and the University of North Texas at bay, and he's going to try now to get a run. But yeah, any way you do that first turn, it is really hard to match the pace there of Ian Brown off the corner. Still, a little bit further down the board, Zach DeWale, you can see trying to make a move on Athena Leclerc. That are going to be two St. Clair College teammates. And then you have down your scoring tower, Austin DeLong trying to get a move on Andrew Burrell, Pennsylvania College of Technology, trying to get around Clemson University. And you can ride following Zachary DeWale now as they try to go through the S's, and absolute precision there you see from those two drivers. Athena Leclerc, really, really solid start to this race. We saw her move up into that 8th place and do very cleanly and very, very well efficiently. So awesome outing for St. Clair College and for Athena Leclerc. Self-proclaimed an oval racer, stock car racer at the outset, but finding her home in these GT3 cars as well. So trying to get the slipstream down the main straight, and some aerodynamic modifications, I got to say, Matt, on that Ferrari. But Zach DeWale, we know that the second race is a little bit more aggressive, and it looks like it shows in that instance. But I'll tell you what, I see that DeLong still right on the bumper, just 2/10 back, but still cannot get around, or has not got around, Andrew Burrell. And not that he would be hard pressed right now, but those two drivers are going to try and compete. He's only got maybe 2 or 3 more laps to do it. Probably 2 more laps to go, that driver. I tell you what, I do see, though, that that gap that was 9 seconds up at the lead is now 1 second. So did Jordan Johnson have a little hiccup? Because this gap now down to 1 second. And again, the point situation fairly sorted between these two. But if he's going to have any chance, and if Kent State is going to have any chance of closing up. You see here, so looks like a bit of a spin coming through this turn. We've seen this. We saw this with the Mercedes earlier, and now he's Kent State University just trying to get this car turned around, and so nothing lost, only time. But that is not what that team needed. As Austin DeLong, Penn College of Technology, looks down to the inside. Who can go later? It looks like it's going to be the 23 machine of Andrew Burrell, that Clemson machine. Distinctive claw. Looks like it's been scratched by a big old paw down there, but carries on through the first, and you can see right there. Actually, Ian Brown now has closed. Onofre and Brown battling have closed on Hunter Hedesti from the Clemson University, and now we have a little bit of a gaggle. And I'll tell you who likes this is Onofre, who is going to use this opportunity to try and work on Mesa Community College. But I'll tell you what, he's too far back, and the opportunity gone. And now contact. It looks like contact with the BMW. Hunter Hedesti around Clemson University. He will lose out. You can see that Wingate University also trying to get that position. So that's going to be +1 for Jacob Cummings. Yeah, really tricky underbreak. I think Matt, I think Hedesti was trying to let the Mesa machine go through and wasn't quite aware. And I saw a lot of air between those two cars. I don't know if that was contact or not. One could say netcode, but we'll have to let the stewards work that out. So nothing right now. In fact, looks like Austin DeLong is around again in the same location that he was previously. And you saw the white flag out as well. So that gap about 2 seconds. Onofre still has not gotten around Brown. And you can see a little bit tough to get that car under control for the 22. Daniel Hunter trying to go to work on Athena Leclerc now. Another battle between the St. Clair College machines, and you can see the white flag in the air right now. Your leader about to the backstretch right now, just trying to make sure that Kent State University can finish this lap out. We have a battle right now, though, with the St. Clair machines. The three in the picture that you see here, and looks like they'll carry this formation on at least through the S's. And this is the tighter battle on track. Zach DeWale leading the way down through the S's. You can see a little bit out of shape right there in that Ferrari, but it's so hard when you're trying to keep it together. And these tires have been used for about 25 minutes of a race for these drivers. The leader coming around now through Sector 3. That is going to be Kent State University. Can he complete this round? And if he should, he would have a pretty positive damage mitigation and good points haul here in this one. The points difference in this race about 10 points apart. The difference between P1 and P2. So Kent State University's Jordan Johnson, 2 corners to go, back on the rumble strips, and that Porsche well under control, no push there, and no black flags this time. Your second race winner is going to be Kent State University, and it's going to be Jordan Johnson across the line. He will take home the checkered flag, followed by Ball State University, and then IUPUI. Really good points run for Cohen Evans in that run, and IUPUI. And it looks like coming across, Edwin Onofre did not get around, so North Texas will finish 5th behind Mesa Community College. Those drivers going through, and actually Jake Cummings with a little bit of a loose spin, but nothing lost there, no time lost. No position lost. Excuse me. Jacob Cummings and Wingate University bringing home that 7th position. And you can see, actually, it looks like we should be expecting some St. Clair College machines. I did see some contact between the 3 machines that we saw together. So Zach DeWale will come across the line. Averett University's pole sitter this race, Blake Ellison, followed by P10. Going to finish your top 10. That's going to be Penn College of Technology. And Austin DeLong coming home in the pit lane. Looks like it's going to be Athena Leclerc. Looks like that was not her lap, and she's ready to park that one. Andrew Burrell going to come home 12th, and another St. Clair machine, Victor Roldan, behind him. And So these drivers going to finish up a little bit. Looks like Cale Davidson for Ball State University, as well as Minnesota State's Justin Frederick. Going to try and bring this one home. The last corner to go for Cale Davidson, and that'll be Ball State University done. But on the whole, Matt, really, really entertaining second race. It had it all. It had drama. It had opening lap. I gotta say, my play of the game almost certainly goes to Jordan Johnson from Kent State University, putting his car, in first place by the S's. That was really the crucial moment, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting a replay here now of Jordan Johnson's spectacular first lap move from sixth to first in the first corner. They're 5 wide here, and Jordan Johnson decides to make it 6 wide. It's almost like a NASCAR race up into turn one. And we saw Ian Brown making a steaming move around the outside as well. But Jordan Johnson, commanding move for the lead in race one. Definitely probably the most impressive move of the night by a good ways, I'd say. But Jordan Johnson took the lead in turn one and did not look back for the rest of the race. Did have a bit of a spin towards the end, but I think he still recovered well. And finishing first is no small feat here in the CIL. Tons of talent and tons of speed throughout the field.
Well, there was certainly a ton of speed, and it was awesome to see these drivers competing at such a high level. I mean, I go back to the first lap and contact, certainly contact the first lap, but for the most part, drivers continuing on their way and really saving it for the end there. A couple really smart runs by drivers who were able to go and compete based on the time of the race and the stage of their equipment. As you can see, a lot more cars with hot and worn tires there at the end. So talked about this track temp, a balmy 70 degrees, air temp being 68 degrees. You even have some dense air to put across the aerodynamic features on the race cars, but all the force goes through the tires, and we saw some sliding action as we got towards the end of this one. So really fun adventure, and certainly entertained with everything we saw tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's always fun to watch some great racing here in the CIL, and I think night in and night out, we definitely see a lot of side by side action. We saw it not only at the front of the field for race one, but throughout the entire field in both races, where um, really just a mix of skill and who's got good race cars and who's got good qualifying cars really came out to play. Because I think we saw some cars who were fast in qualifying and kind of dropped through the field a little bit in both race one and race two, but uh, that's just the way the game goes sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't work out for you, but there's always the next race to come back and really recover and see what happens from there.
Yeah, it certainly is, and a lot of good points implications from this one. As finishing on a good note is Jordan Johnson, Kent State University, but Ball State University still maintaining, um, able to go through and finish well as well for those drivers. And then IUPUI going to be the other winner up top of the points column, finishing a couple positions ahead and taking that points lead in the about fifth and fourth place in the points for IUPUI over Wingate University.
Yeah, absolutely. Good points lines for a lot of our drivers here tonight. And, speaking of our drivers here tonight, let's see if we can get some of them into the booth here momentarily. I think we're going to try to get some of these drivers in. Okay. So we've got a couple drivers waiting for us to have some post race interviews. Joining us in the booth now, it's going to be Cohen Evans out of IUPUI. Cohen, congratulations on a great race tonight. You ran a pretty lonely race one, it looked like, but a very eventful race too. And we saw you make some moves past drivers such as Edwin Onofre, Ian Brown very quickly. Were you getting a little bit impatient waiting there and just decided to put your foot to the floor, or were you planning that out for a couple laps?
No, I was trying to be patient that entire race. In the past, I've gotten burned a couple of times just trying to force a move. So that move, I was just trying to be patient and just plan it out and be careful. I knew it'd come to me. I just a matter of time until I got by him.
Congrats, Cohen, on the good run. This is Josh up in the booth. It was a hectic start, 5 and 6 wide to the start of the second race tonight. Did you have a strategy for it, or maybe what are your pro tips to our viewers out there on getting through a gaggle like that?
Well, my plan was to just try to make it through the first couple laps because I knew it was going to be crazy with the invert. It always is. So I've been trying to take it easy at the start of the second race, and it's been paying off lately.
Well, Cohen, it definitely was a pretty hectic second race, and it's always a pleasure to watch you race, a CIL veteran, definitely showing us how it's done. Before we send you on your way tonight, Cohen, anybody you want to thank or shout out on the broadcast this evening?
I'll just say hi to my family out there, my mom, dad, my brother, all of them.
Absolutely, Cohen. Once again, congratulations on your podium finishes tonight in both race one and race two. We hope to see you up here again soon. And until next time, take it easy.
Yeah, see ya. Thanks.
And that was Cohen
And
Evans. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
that was Cohen Evans, your P3 finisher, and now for your P2 finisher and first heat winner is from Ball State University, our Muhammad Alif. This is Josh up in the booth. Congrats on a good run tonight, man. It was fun to watch you mix it up, especially with Johnson up at the front there. I'll tell you what, though, walk us through a little bit of that first race. And especially in the closing stages, what was your strategy and what did you do to manage that outcome?
I mean, I was kind of just driving within myself. Didn't really react to whatever Johnson was doing, and certainly because if you pull out of line, here in Austin, Texas, you kind of ruin the exit. So I tried to stay on the racing line most of the time, but yeah, I mean, I know that Jordan will keep it clean, so yeah, I drove with that in mind, and yeah, it paid off in the end. I think Jordan could have probably had me to turn one, but I think I placed the car in a way that it wouldn't have worked out for him. But I guess he had an incident point limit right at the end, which isn't too good. But yeah.
Yeah, Alip, that was some great racing we saw at the front of race one as well as throughout the pack in race two. We know that invert for race two is always causing problems for drivers throughout the field, whether you're starting in the front or the back. Uh, did you have a strategy going into race two, thinking good points tonight so far in race one? Were you concerned about how quickly you got to the front in race two?
I felt once Jordan got into clean air, and he got like 5 6 second gap. From then on, I think realistically P2 was the only way because Jordan and myself were really close in terms of pace. So that was what I was aiming for. But once I got to P2, I was like, okay, let's try to match his lap time and let's try to go for the fastest lap, which I think I missed out by like 200th of a second, which sucks. But yeah, from then on, it was just trying to keep up with him and try to slowly close the gap and see what the Mercedes could do in clean air. And yeah, Jordan had a scary moment there, spin right at the end, but yeah, didn't really affect the outcome.
Yeah, it was very exciting, I think, in both races for us in the booth, and we did get to mention your recent success at the FIA competition, finishing in seventh position there with about 50 drivers. So the viewers are informed on that, and wanted to congratulate you again. Let us know who do you want to give a shout out to, and who makes this possible for you.
Oh, thanks, Josh. Yeah, definitely to my Ball State family, Dan Marino, my teammates here in the esports varsity team for giving their full support, as well as my team back in Singapore, Team Flash, my family who are watching, my friends who are all as well watching as well. Um, but yeah, like you mentioned, I arrived back here on Sunday night, so still pretty jet lagged, but yeah, I had to still join the CIL to try to make the most of it.
That's awesome, and I think you did make the most of it. So congratulations again, a good night overall, and a win in the first race. And congratulations and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Matthew.
So a really strong run, a little bit of an Ironman performance. Get back Sunday night, and yeah, that's that time change is not going away in 2 days. So trying to figure out which time zone he's in. But our Muhammad Ali, winner of race 1 and finishing P2 in the second event, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely great job by Leaf. Did a great job in the Formula C race last night, and he's shown us once again what makes him one of the fastest drivers in the CIL here tonight in the GT3 Challenge. But now joining us in the booth is going to be your alumni class winner for the evening, Hunter Hadesti from Clemson University. Congratulations, Hunter. We saw a bit of a fight between you and a few other drivers towards the end of race 2. Go ahead, walk us through. Were you worried about position there, or were you just knowing that you had that alumni P1 secured for the most part, just trying to nurse it home to the end?
Oh, thank you. Took me a while to get to the interview room, but yeah, my main target for the both races was just to beat the other alumni. And so after race 1, it was just like, oh, kind of got that win, so let's go out and have some fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congrats, Hunter, on a good run. And walk us through. Are there any parts that you do or don't like about the Circuit of the Americas track? We talked about it at the top of our broadcast, and then we weren't disappointed with a lot of the on-track action and the way it flows back and forth. Perhaps handing the advantage back and forth between cars that are side by side, depending on where you are on track. Is this a good track for you?
Yeah, it's interesting because when I first started practicing for COTA, I really did not like the flow, especially through the S's. And so that was one aspect. But the more I kept lapping it, the more I kind of liked the flow and just how the circuit was put together. So the last section, that like tight kind of stadium section, can be very tricky. I spun there several times in practice. So didn't enjoy that part, but the rest of it, yeah, it's fantastic.
Absolutely, Hunter. We hear a lot from drivers just how much they love this track once they get into the flow of it. That first sector, especially, something that is definitely not to be forgotten. But before we send you on your way tonight, Hunter, is there anybody you want to thank or shout out on the broadcast this evening?
I'll give a shout out to my boys at Hart, Alabama, Honda of America race team. After a kind of disappointing weekend at the Indianapolis 8 Hour, it's nice to get back into the racing environment, even if it is virtual.
Absolutely. It's always fantastic to be racing side by side here with your fellow CIL competitors, Hunter. Congratulations once again on the alumni class victory tonight, and we hope you take it easy and hope to see you next time.
Thank you.
That was Hunter Hadesti out of Clemson University representing the alumni class winner tonight. But we have one more driver to interview tonight, and it's going to be your race 2 winner, Jordan Johnson. Jordan, congratulations on your victory in race 2. You pulled off an absolutely fantastic move into turn 1. Was that planned or just a spur of a moment type move?
Um, well, I knew I needed to be aggressive, but I wasn't trying to go 6 wide until I saw the gap open up. Going through, I kind of backed off going up the hill, and a gap opened up on the inside of everyone, leaving a bunch of space, and I just licked the stamp and sent it. And just got on throttle and hoped for the best, and worked out. It couldn't have worked any better. Couldn't have scripted it any better, I guess you could say, but worked out, and I was definitely very happy to kind of be in the lead after turn 1.
Yeah, it's certainly being in the lead, and we kind of saw that whoever made it to the S's first made their way pretty much to the backstretch first. And so, first, congrats, Jordan, on a good run tonight for yourself and Kent State. And I'm going to ask maybe about the first race. It was really coming down to the wire, and I think it was you ran out of fouls, incident points. Walk us through that moment and surely you knew you were on the limit. So what was your strategy to try and finish out that lap?
Uh, well, to be honest, it all stemmed from qualifying. When Jacob Cummings and I ran into each other in qualifying, it broke my force feedback for the rest of the session. I power cycled my wheel and I left the session. That's why I pulled over on the formation lap. I was just trying to get something back, and I never could. So it all stemmed from that. I couldn't get any force feedback for the entire race, and I just kept having little moments where either I'd lose the front or lose the rear, and I'd get a small little 1x here and there. So most of that race was just survival, to be completely honest. Um, and coming into those final few laps, I could tell that the Mercedes had lost its front tires. So I didn't even have to kind of push, and I was able to breathe down the neck of a Leaf's car. And I just think that it didn't have the grip that the Porsche had at that point. Um, that and knowing I had more pace in the tank just because I wasn't pushing full out or flat out because of my lack of uh, force feedback. I just kind of knew I saw an opening. I needed to go for it. And those final two laps, we were only 3/10 apart pretty much all lap. I thought I was going to get an opening heading into that last sector. And then the leaf broke a little bit earlier than I expected. Looking back on it, it was perfectly normal. It was just my own misjudgment. I wasn't really thinking about those incident points, though. It was kind of win the race or win it or bin it, I guess they say in oval. So it was a little bit of that more than anything. Self preservation out the window, just trying to have a good race, have a bit of fun. Just misjudged it as all.
That is good. So you ran that whole first race with no force feedback in your car.
I ran both races without force feedback at all.
Oh man, ouch. Well, that is genuinely impressive, and perhaps should go in the notes of history alongside this one. Genuinely impressive, and congratulations again, Jordan, on really good performances, stellar performances, free of force feedback in both events. Is there anybody that you want to shout out who makes this possible for you?
Yeah, of course, just my team, Pure Sims Esports, and all the support they give us, as well as our partners and sponsors, SimLab, Cube Controls, Sim Sports, OBP Esports, Night Riders Designs, and Freem. Just all the help that they give us and all the support that my team gives me. I can't thank them much enough for the opportunity that they've given me to improve as a driver, and can't wait for the future.
That's awesome. Congrats again on a really good night and a really good nights for the championship point standings. And enjoy it. Have a good one.
Thank you.
And that was your second race winner. No force feedback was really impressive, but Jordan Johnson and Kent State University, who were able to get the job done tonight. Matt, I've done races without force feedback, and I don't know if there is a way to communicate to the viewers what that's like or how hard it is. Imagine if you were to drive your road car on the way to work tomorrow, driving only with your eyes, not able to feel anything through the steering wheel. I think that might be my best guess.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so tough to drive without force feedback, especially after you get used to driving with it for so long. I think myself, I think of it as much like walking on a bumpy surface or a rocky surface with really thick shoes, where you're walking, but you can't really feel where you're stepping, and if you're not looking where you're going and you step, you're gonna twist your ankle, you're gonna hurt something. But really great job by Jordan Johnson. We did see a bit of a spin from him in the second race, but he pulled out such a big gap in the first part of that race. It didn't really affect his finishing position at all. So definitely a very impressive feat to drive without any force feedback. And I don't think many drivers could do that.
No, I don't think so. I think that talks again to the talent in that Kent State machine. And boy, maybe that sums it up. Is a really fun night. I knew that coming into Circuit of the Americas, there was going to be some good competition. There was going to be a lot of close racing, and tonight did not disappoint. And that's my thoughts on this one. I'm really looking forward to 2 weeks from now. We go to Monza, so being able to look ahead. And again, if you like the long straights, the tactical braking, and drivers trying to get the most out of their corner exits, like we saw here tonight, then that will be an event you won't want to miss. And again, points implications coming. That's going to be another the last two events, Monza and the Red Bull Ring. That championship being on November 29th. Those are going to be events where Kent State has to perform well to grab out this championship, and then all the schools that we mentioned behind IUPUI, Clemson, St. Clair College, Wingate University. Those schools are going to want to be on their game because the point separation is in the single digits between there, and more importantly, the point separation mathematically is about the same as one or two positions on track. So every position counts for those drivers. And boy, and on that bombshell, I cannot wait for the next round in 2 weeks at Monza.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a very exciting race. Turn one at Monza is always exciting, and you never know what's going to happen. You could see some championship contenders getting caught up in something that's not necessarily their fault in turn one, and even in turn one in the Red Bull Ring as well. It's a very narrow corner, and it's really going to go 2 wide, 3 wide potentially into that corner that really only fits one car. So expect to see cars bumping off that sausage curb on the outside of turn one of the Red Bull Ring, and I definitely wouldn't want to miss those races because it's going to come down to the wire here for this GT3 championship.
Yeah, I think it most certainly is, and I think the racing action will be reminiscent of what we saw tonight. So, yeah, that's the season as it shapes up, and it's going to be a couple heaters to end on here in Monza in 2 weeks, and then on November 29th, the championship race at the Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these drivers are going to be putting in a lot of effort and time in these races and try to perfect their setups, perfect where they want to be fast. Because I think a lot of those tracks, Monza's temple of speed, right? Absolutely no holds barred, no wings, negative wings even. So expect to see some intense racing there. And then the Red Bull Ring, lots of long straights, short corners, short radius corners, turn three, turn 4 and 5, all very tight corners. So expect to see a lot of close action there, where I think really perfecting the setup of your car is going to be also an important factor in those races as well.
Yeah, I think it will be. So I think, Matt, for tonight, I'm all out of words. I am still on the edge of my seat trying to gather. It was a good race between several good drivers and close battles between Johnson and Alif, the three St. Clair cars. And then Ian Brown holding off Edwin Onofre for that fourth position in the running order. So action up and down the pylon, and looking forward to more of that in the future.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to plenty of racing in the CIL over the next few weeks. If you have no more words to say, uh, you know, be sure to tune in next week as the CIL Oval Series returns as they head to Phoenix Monday night, 9 p.m. It's going to be the Prospect Series taking on the short track of Phoenix. It's a 1 mile track. It's going to be short track high tempers as the Premier Series takes on the very same track the next day on Tuesday, same time, same place. So for everyone here at the CIL, myself, Matthew Nordberg, Josh Crane, we want to thank you for coming out tonight and watching this CIL GT3 Challenge race, and we hope to see you again sometime soon.